Hi, Robin. Hi, Renee. Hi, Deb. Happy Tuesday. Oops, that was loud. All right. Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to my Facebook Live at 7 o'clock. This is Barb Reed, and I am the Wexford Stamper. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Hey, Rhonda. And I do a Facebook Live every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, and I share some of my latest creations. And thank you all for jumping on. Make sure that you give me a hello. Be great to see you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight, I am going to go back and pull out, hey Joanne, one of the stamp sets that I got as a freebie during the last celebration time period that we had. And it is called Delicate Dahlias. And here is the set. Okay, wonderful set, photopolymer, some of the special technology that makes the flowers look very 3D. Very cool. Hey, Mary, nice to see you. Here's a good picture of all of the images. And you can see that the leaves and the flowers are two-step stamps. So you have an outline and then you have a little inside part that you can stamp. So I'll give you a couple of tricks that I use to get mine to look pretty neat. And in addition to that, I'm going to be using some of the black and white gingham ribbon. Love this stuff. I've been using it since I saw it in the catalog, and I will use it straight through until Christmas. I've got some Christmas projects with it even. So, all right. And always remember that you don't have to worry about taking down any of the dimensions or any of the product names that we're talking about this evening, because I have it all here in a PDF that is downloadable from my blog. And just to remind you, my blog is www.thewexfordstamper.blogspot.com. So give me a heart if you have the Delicate Dahlias set and you haven't had a chance to pull it out yet and start playing with it. That was my trouble. So I thought lots of gals on my team would have it, lots of my customers, and maybe some other stampers out there. And I can give you a few little tips and tricks. You are very welcome, Mary, on how to make your flowers. And I kind of, even though they're dahlias, I wanted to put a little bit of a fall twist on this one. So I'm a big lover of the mums. So I was kind of thinking, what color are the mums? And I played with some colors, and this is what I came out with. So this is actually Delicate Mums, but we're going to use the dahlias anyway, and nobody's going to know any better. So we're going to do this one first, the more fall looking like one. Then I will do this one second. This one uses the cute little ribbon and that polished pink. That's one of the new colors, the new in colors. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put these aside for now, and we will jump right in. Okay, for the first card, I am going to be using some Cajun Craze for my card base. I don't use this color that much, so I thought it's great to pull this one out for the fall. It's perfect for the fall. Kind of reminds me of the color of the mums and Indian corn and that kind of stuff. And then I have a crushed curry layer that I'm going to put right on top. That is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to layer one more. Oops, that one goes on the inside. This one goes on the outside, a little bit smaller, which is 3 3/4 by 5. So that's what our front is going to look like. Hi, Anne. Hello. Got lots of my peeps here tonight. Okay, so we're going to do our stamping first, since that's what most of the time for this card will take, because once we get it stamped, it comes together very quickly. So here is that card, and I'm going to bring in my Pierce mat. These are available in the catalog, and this is a great thing to use when you're using the photopolymer stamps. And when I say photopolymer, those are the clear stamps that don't really have a lot of padding like the old red rubber stamps used to have. And if you use the Pierce mat, you can sometimes get a better image. So that's why we're going to be using that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to put my Pierce mat down right here. I'm going to put some of my paper over my work area here, just so we don't get any ink on my Pierce mat. And this is that piece of basic white. All right, so the first color we're going to use is Daffodil Delight. Okay, and the order that I did my stamping in, I did the inside first, then I did the outline. Okay, and then another thing I did here, and this is a tip that you can use if it would work for you. I found a spot on the stamp. Let me get the, here. Okay, you can see the image right here. There's one place where there's this little little leaf by itself there. Everybody see that? And that kind of was my guideline leaf, not leaf, but petal that I used. So what I did on my stamps is I took a Sharpie marker and I put a little dot right at the tip of that lone petal right there. And then whenever I put these on my block, I try to make that petal go straight up towards the top. Okay, then I can match them up a lot easier than trying to find that leaf every time that I stamp. It just makes it a little easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to do my Daffodil Delight flowers first, and we're just going to stamp them kind of at a diagonal across from each other like that. Okay, so we're going to take the stamp that is the inside. This is the inside of the flower, and we're going to stamp that first. And I'm going to make sure that I'm stamping and making that petal that I marked going straight up towards the top of the card. Okay, then I'm going to take that away. Going to do the same thing on the other side here. Okay, and remember, it really doesn't matter. You can decide where the best place is to position yours. But there are my two mums. We're going to call them mums tonight. Okay, now let's go ahead. I'm going to bring in the outline now. And I'm going to go right with that dot at the top again. And I'm going to put it right over. Okay, and it isn't really that important that you get it exact, but I know how some of your stampers are, and you like it to be pretty exact. I'm not quite that much of a fanatic about this one because it's so pretty, and I love how the light and dark portions of the inside of the stamps make some of the petals look like they're kind of closer to you. So I really think that's so pretty. So there, we've already finished the first color. And now we're going to change our colors up for the second one. Let me clean up my stamps here quickly. And now we're going to move to the next darker color. And the color I used for that, believe it or not, I stamped the flowers in Calypso Coral. And then I outlined them in the Cajun Craze. I just thought both Cajun Craze was a little dark, but if you like that, go with that. Whatever you like best. So again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp the center of, not the center, but the inside of the flower first. Okay, remembering to keep my little petal marker going towards the top. And I brought it in kind of as close as I could up here at the top. And it's all right if they touch, because it's like a little bouquet. Okay, there's that one. And we're going to go with the other one here, keeping that little petal straight up. Or you could also do it that the petal goes to the right or the left, just so you're being consistent with it is fine. And then I'm going to color in this little spot here as well. Okay, so there we have our Calypso coral that we used for the inside. Now I'm going to bring in my outside part, or my outline. That's the word I'm trying to think of. And we're going to do the same thing, okay? Remembering to keep our there we go. I know when I like to get the darker mums, and I always notice that the outsides or the edges of the petals are always a little darker, almost brown. So that's why I went with the Cajun Craze along the edge. But that's up to you, whatever you think. But I just love that. I think that looks beautiful. Very fall-like. All right, next what I did, I took one of the smaller flowers, and I really just took the inside part because I don't want this to really stand out, because this is just going to kind of fill in the white part. I know, aren't they pretty? They just scream fall. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my Daffodil Delight. And we're going to fill in where the white is, but I'm going to put a little bit on the stamp. I'm going to stamp off first, and then I'm going to fill in. So I'm going to stamp off, and then go in and fill in those spots. We don't want it to be quite as dark as the other sections. We just kind of want to fill in so it's not so quite so white. Okay, one more I'll do. So you really just have a very muted outline of a flower, and it just fills in some of that white space. All right, the last thing I wanted to do here is put a little bit of speckles. You know how much I like to do those speckles. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little bit of crumb cake, and this is totally, if you aren't a speckle person, you don't need to do it, but it just gives it a little bit of an aged look. So I'm going to take a stamp here that has speckles, which actually are sand from the Friends Are Like Seashells. Right here, there's a little sand image, and that's what I'm going to use here. I'm going to stamp it off. And then I'm just going to stamp in some of the sections, just to give it a little bit of interest. Nothing too dark, keeping it nice and muted. There we go. This is just fun to play with. All right, so there's my piece. Is that so pretty? Such a pretty fall card. All right, now let's go ahead and start layering. I'll bring back in, this is my Cajun Craze, and I will bring in my piece of crushed curry, and we're going to go ahead and adhere our stamped panel to that one. So let me go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back. And then these are just going to layer very nicely onto the front of the card. And then I was kind of digging through some of my dies, and I want to get a unique die, or a die that I haven't used in a little bit. because I don't like them to sit on the shelf and not get any use. They get sad. So I found this one. I thought that was a really cool shape. And I don't know if you remember what one that is from. This is one that when the catalog first came out, it's from the All Dressed Up dies. And this was the one that has the purse die and everything. It has this really unique little die there I'm going to use for my label. I just like that. I thought that was really cool. So I'm going to bring back in my Cajun Craze. And we're going to stamp our sentiment on here. And I did Oh So Happy for You. Got to find it here. All right, Oh So Happy for You. We're going to do that in the Cajun Craze. That's what's so awesome about Stampin' Up! Colors. They all match Paper and ink and markers. All right, so there we go. Last thing here I'm going to do, oops, I'm going to take a couple of dimensionals and I'm going to put them on the back of this. And it looks like I put it kind of down here into the bottom right-hand side. All right, then I took a cute little piece of the Elegant Gold Trim. Love this. And I got out my glue dots. Get my pick tool here. I put the little bow, the knot of the bow right on the glue dot, and then I just grab it with my pick tool. And let's see, I'm going to put it on this side this time, just to mix it up a little bit. Okay, and then for the finishing touch, I have these pretty gold glitter enamel dots. I thought they would be perfect as well. I'm going to pull those out, grab my pick tool again, and we're going to place these on the card just in random spots. Remember, you like to put them in odd groupings. So that's what we're going to try to do here. Such a pretty card. So it'd be great for a fall birthday, anniversary, anything like that. So there is the first card. Oh, do you, Mary? Good. You got to get it out and play. Let me show you. I was playing around with some other colors. And see if you like any of these. I just played, depending on what kind of card. This is Petal Pink. That's more, the pink that kind of leans a little bit peachy. I thought that was really a pretty flower. And here I did a mint macaron. I've never seen a flower that color, but is that going to stop me? I think not. And here's the Fresh Freesia. That's a real pretty color too. And then here is the Mary Merlot. So just play around with some of the colors that you have. It's so fun. All these I stamped using the same color for the flower and the outline. But then you can mix it up too if you want to. So I just wanted to show you a few that I had been playing around with. All right, so we have our first card, our fall card, all done. Now I'm excited to show you my next one here. This is another one of my favorite colors, but this is not really a fall color, but it is one of the new in colors. It's called Polished Pink. And I thought, oh, I think I'm going to use that. That is such a pretty color. And for this one, I'm going to show you how you can make a mask so that when you stamp the leaf to the top here, that it doesn't stamp over the flower, that you can see the bottom of it through the flower. So I'm going to show you how I made a little mask so that you can make it look like the flower is in front or on top of the leaves. All right, so let's go ahead and grab the paper we need. This one, of course, I'm going to be using some basic black cardstock. This is cut at 11 by 4 1/4. And then we're going to score at 5 1/2. I love these cards that fold from the top. They stand up so much better on your table when you are displaying them. All right, now we're going to have a few layers here for on the top. We're going to need another black. That one goes directly on top of the card base. Then we're going to actually have a beautiful piece of the polished pink. Then we're going to go to another piece of the basic black, just so we make this real thin little pink outline there. And then we're going to put another layer with the basic white, and that is where our stamped image is going to go. So let's go ahead and work on that first. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to bring back in my pierce mat, and let's turn this over to a clean side. And now we're going to work on our pink flower. All right, so I'm going to grab my polished pink. That's this color here. Going to open that up. And I'm looking for my pear pizzazz. I did see it. I thought I had it here somewhere. Hold on, I gotta get my pear pizzazz. All right, let's see. Oh, didn't grab that one. Okay, now I did. All right, now let me talk a little bit about the mask that I made. What I did is I took a big sticky note. This is one of the lined sticky notes where the adhesive part is at the top. And I stamped the flower image onto my Post-it note. And then I remembered to have that single leaf right there going straight up. Okay. Then what I did is I took my scissors and fussy cut just that portion of the flower out. And I'll show you why we do that in just a minute. Okay, so this is going to be my mask, and I'm going to show you how this works in just a minute. All right, let's go ahead and stamp our beautiful pink flower first. Okay, let me make sure I have this paper going the right way. It should be square, but just checking. All right, so I can see my little individual petal there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it so that that petal goes into the top right-hand corner. Okay, you can kind of see my little dot there from my Sharpie marker. I'm going to direct that towards the top right-hand corner. Okay, I'm going to position it in the center of the paper, but that leaf is going to be pointing toward the right-hand corner. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp that down. All right, there is our flower. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the outline. I'm going to position it so that that little petal there is going up toward the corner just like the flower did. Stamp down. Okay, so there's my flower all finished. Okay, so now it's time to put the leaf on the flower. Now, if I would just take the leaf and just stamp it right down onto the paper, let me show you what would happen. Okay, let me go ahead and I'm going to stamp another so you can get the idea of what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to stamp another pink flower here. I feel like could show better if I do it this. All right, so here I'm stamping here, and then I'm taking my outline. So let's just pretend this is on my card. Okay, now if I just take my leaf, this is my leaf inside, and if I just stamp it on to my Pear Pizzazz and I have it sticking out the top edge of my paper and stamp down, what happens? You get a little bit of the leaf stamping over the flower, especially if the flower is a light color. Okay, we don't want that to happen. So what we do is we use a mask. So let's go ahead and I'm going to bring in my mask this time. Okay, and here is that little petal that we've used to kind of indicate where we're going. And I'm going to take my mask and I'm going to put it right over that portion of the flower. Okay, and because it's a sticky note, it's going to stay over that. Let me put that under so you can't see it. So now it's covering up your flower. So when you come in with your stamp, comes my Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to stamp it right here along the edge. Okay. Then I'm going to stamp the outer edge, keeping that mask down. Okay, then we're going to pull away the mask, and then it's going to lay behind the flower. Isn't that cool how that makes it look like the leaf is behind the flower? Love that. So that's a quick trick that you can do. This mask can be used for lots and lots of cards. It lasts for a long time, but it's just a quick way to use the mask and help the leaf look more like it is sitting behind on the card. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and finish up our card. We have one more thing to stamp, and that is our sentiment. And our sentiment for this one is "Thank you kindly." And this is also in the Delicate Dahlias. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use Memento Black for this. And I'm actually going to stamp it kind of on the bottom portion of the card, of the flower, and kind of off to the side there. Okay. Yes, isn't that a great trick? I don't know where I learned it, Rhonda, but you can use that with a lot of the florals. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do some gluing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this glue on the back here. And all the dimensions for all the layers will be on my blog and on the downloadable PDF that you can get on my blog. And then that goes right on to the beautiful polished pink, and then onto the black 4 by 5 1/4 piece. Okay, and for that, I'm glad I stopped myself. I want to go ahead and put this on this piece with dimensionals. Okay, so let's turn this over. Put 4 dimensionals on the back of my flower panel. And then I'm going to place it right on the top portion of the card. All right, we're getting close here, almost done. Now for this one, what I did is I took a piece of the black and white gingham ribbon and I looped it around this card front and then tied a knot. Okay, but I'm going to show you a different way and how we can make a faux bow. You guys have heard of those. I'm going to just take a shorter piece of the gingham, and I'm going to cut that off. Okay, then I'm going to take some Scotch tape. I need 2 little pieces, and we're going to pretend that the ribbon goes all the way around the panel, but it really just goes to the back, and we put a piece of tape over it, but don't tell anybody. They'll never know. Then we're going to bring it around the front again and around the side, keeping it nice and taut. We put another piece of Scotch tape there. Now we're ready to go ahead and put it on our card base. And again, we're going to use some dimensionals. This time, since it's so big, I'm going to use 5. 1 here, and then 2 at the bottom corners, 2 at the top. So this is a way you can probably use a little less of the beautiful ribbon. This gingham is some of my favorite, but it still looks the same as my other one. I'll show you, I'll put them side by side and you'll never know the difference. All right, so there we go. And instead of tying a bow, I'm going to take a pre-tied bow and I'm going to put it on with some glue dots. So I'm going to grab my glue dots, stick it right down on there on the knot, grab my pick tool, and then just stick it anywhere you like on the bottom portion of that card, directly onto the piece of ribbon that you Scotch taped across the bottom. So that is another way you can do it. So here is one that I actually wrapped around and tied. And here's one that I did a faux bow. You really can't tell the difference. So it's whatever you like, whichever way you like to do it. It's really, really easy. So that is my 2 cards for this evening. I hope you take time this week to get out that Delicate Dahlias set and give it a try yourself and post whatever you make on the VIP page. I'd love to see what you put together. All right, so this was officially a fall project because we made our fall mums card. But for next week, we are going to make a paper pumpkin. Look at this. This I made out of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. And it is a cute little pumpkin. And I'm going to share with you next Tuesday how to make this cute little pumpkin. Isn't he cute? Really super easy to make and lots of fun. So join me next Tuesday for another fall project. We'll be making these cute little 3D pumpkins. So have a great week. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully it will get a little better. It's been a little dreary. And don't forget to keep on stamping. All right, you guys, take care. See you Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Bye-bye.